Yikes, I just hit my phone. At 7 p.m. on June 3rd, 2024, we're going to begin this regular meeting of the Rutherford Board of Education. We'll ask everyone who can to please stand, face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Present.
Mrs. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Conti?
Present.
Mr. Healy?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Mazzone?
Here.
Dr. Racine?
Here.
Mr. Sprayberry?
What?
Dr. Rolati?
Here.
You have a quorum.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meeting of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and the Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available at the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on Friday before the meeting date on the district's website at www.rutherfordschools.org. Subsequent to the meeting, a video of the meeting will be uploaded to the district's website, www.rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. So board members, in your packets, there were meeting minutes to approve from the regular meeting and executive session of May 13th, 2024. Any comments on those sets of minutes? All right, seeing none, I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please enter those. Report of the student representative.
The super student.
The super student representative, yes, exactly. So Poppy Bimson, who's been our student representative for 2 years, is going to be parting ways on to even bigger and better things, but tonight's your last report, so there is no pressure for excellence because you delivered that the last 2 years, but I will turn it over to you for your report.
Thank you. As the school year is coming to an end, many students found themselves participating in extracurriculars and fun activities to celebrate the 2023-2024 year. To start, softball won the North 2 Group 2 state sectional title this past weekend for the first time since 2008. They compete in groups this coming week. Many track relay teams and individuals advanced to the Group 2 meet after the state sectional meet this weekend. And speaking of, James Alati won the state sectional javelin. The varsity dinner is going to be held June 10th to celebrate these accomplishments and work of student athletes through the spring and whole year. Senior Field Day was held last week, where seniors competed against each other and connected to their old elementary schools to do so. These teams were based on each senior going to either Lincoln or Washington school as kids. Speaking of seniors, the senior awards and prom were held last Friday. The accomplishments of the graduating class were highlighted in these awards, appreciating the work over seniors' career and RHS as a whole. Following the awards was the disco-themed prom, where seniors celebrated and appreciated each other one last time. RHS's The Lightning Thief musical had actors win 7 Metro Award nominations. Some include Outstanding Acting Performance by a Male-Identifying Performer by Nick Scaglione, and Outstanding Direction by Courtney McManus and Matthew Vaccaro. Girls in STEM and science-inclined students in classes such as Anatomy and Physiology and AP Biology attended a science research-based presentation by Hackensack Hospital to interest them in future careers. And to conclude the year, graduation will be held on June 20th at Memorial Field for the seniors. As my last report for the board and RHS, I'd like to thank you all that have made this such a valuable experience. To represent my school on this platform and connect with all of you is something I'll be forever grateful for and carry with me through high school and the rest of my life. I thank you all again for this opportunity and making the past 2 years so important for my school and I.
Thank you. I'm going to give you a round of applause for that. Well, I just want to say thank you for 2 years of commitment to coming to board meetings and giving very well-rounded reports. You continue to focus on everything from academics to athletics to performing arts, and so we really appreciate it. I think it's one of the best parts of coming to board meetings is hearing about the school experience from the student perspective. Questions or comments from board members?
We're gonna miss you. You've done a wonderful job.
Thank you.
So I want to remember to tell you that in one of the upcoming fall board meetings, either probably in September, we are going to invite you back, even though we'll have a new student representative, just to deliver a quick thank you in a different way. But we wish you the best as you go into the final days of school, the summer, gearing up for senior year. I'm sure it'll be a great athletic year for some of our sports as well. Congratulations to you on all of your accomplishments academically and athletically this year. So thank you again for everything. And you can feel free if you'd like to stay for the rest of the meeting. And I also understand if you have things you need to attend to. So thank you.
I'm to
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Good luck. Thank you.
All right, we are going to move on now to the next part of our meeting, which is a public hearing, as we are going to be extending the contract of superintendent, as it's written on here, John Hurley, even though we go by Jack Hurley, superintendent of schools. You've all had a chance to obviously review the contract that we're going to be approving. But at this time, at 7:06 p.m., we are going to open the meeting to the public for anything related to extending the contract of John Hurley, superintendent of schools.
Dr. Lynn.
If anyone wants to come up, they can. Just come up to the microphone. So it's ask you to say your name and either municipality or address.
Richard Lynch of 99 Sylvan Street,
Okay.
next to the kindergarten center. I've met with Mr. Hurley. I would love to extend the contract, but not just myself, the whole. But the thing is, there's been such a problem with parking in front of the K Center, the kindergarten center. They've been blocking driveways and parking handicap spots. I brought it to the attention of the police department. I've let Mr. Hurley know. Officer Caliani has made no reports on it. I did an Oprah Records Act, Oprah request, and there's no reports from a whole month and a half, but made representations by other officers of what these reports should have been. I have a car that's a Durango that's been reported to the police station by numerous different people, parked in a handicap spot, parked cross driveways, and they don't ticket it. And they said, we're busy, we're very busy, we have other cars going out, not just to me, but to other individuals. Then I'm told by Mr. Racine that I'm causing trouble because I don't want my driveway blocked because he lives on the same block. I would love to have this handled, please. But I have copies of no reports being done, being refused service. I'd love something to be done with the kindergarten center, with the parking issue.
Well, Mr. Lynch,
Thank you for the time.
yeah, well, Mr. Lynch, before you, I have spoken to some folks at the police. I will be meeting sometime before June, early July with Chief Russo.
Beyond that, they say.
I'll talk to him.
I'm sorry.
And
Actually, I'm sorry, Mr. Lee, I just want to, we have an open session that is for comments related to and not related to the agenda. This is specifically related to the extended.
Yes, I had a specific conversation with Mr. Hurley. I just want to make sure and get it on the record.
I will follow up. I will follow up. Okay? Thank you.
And then also the one report that was made with an officer that we never had contact with, Officer Madison, said my girlfriend, which is my daughter's mother, but my fiance, which is also on the deed of the home. She's a homeowner. In a report. Is unacceptable. That's it.
All right, well, thank you for your comments, we appreciate it. Are there any other comments during the open public hearing around the extension of Mr. Hurley's contract?
No, thank you. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you. So we have an executive session scheduled just after the public hearing to go into executive session related to any comments we've heard during the public hearing. Considering we've had a comment, I think we're going to motion just to go into a brief executive session. So I just need someone to move to go into executive session. Dr. Racine, seconded by Mr. Healy. All in favor of going into executive session? Aye. Okay, so we are going to go into executive session. We'll head into this room. It'll be about 5 minutes or so, and then we'll head back here for the remainder of the meeting. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you, Dennis Mazzone and Dennis Healy, for moving us out of executive session back into the open session. And So we are going to now move forward with the next item, which is contract approval for the superintendent. I'll read the resolution. I'll ask for someone to motion it and then a second. Be it resolved by the Rutherford Board of Education to approve the master contract between John J. Hurley, Superintendent of School, and the Rutherford Board of Education for the period of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2027. Can I have a motion to move that forward? Mr. Mazzone, seconded by Mr. Bogosian. Any comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Dr. Oladi?
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you.
All right, thank you and congratulations,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Hurley.
Thank you. Want me to my report?
Yes, we're going to move now to the report of the superintendent.
Well, first, I want to thank the board and thank the community and thank the staff and the faculty and the kids for the opportunity to work here and to continue to work here. And I appreciate that opportunity, and I appreciate your support and your collaboration. I do want to go over a couple of things. It'll be a relatively brief report, but, you know, Poppy mentioned a lot of things about the end of the year, the senior awards, the senior prom, the various activities, the championships that were won over the weekend and the like. It really is a celebration this time of year of the success of the students. And we have two newsletters that will come out sometime in June, the digital one in the middle of the month and then a mailer at the end. And we're going to try to capture some of the, like in bullet point, some of the things that we've accomplished, because there were many, many, many things. Tomorrow I'll be at the valedictorian breakfast. Again, I don't like to say who the valedictorian is because it doesn't officially become valedictorian until we get the final grades in, but so, I'm not going to say it. But that's another celebratory activity that we'll be at. You'll see in the agenda tonight that the REF grant is up for approval. And this year, the REF approved 34 grants for $73,841.98. I know it's going to be said later, but I think it's worth saying again. And the Casananti fund, from the Casananti family, another 4 grants for $4,635. So 38 grants for just over, right in the middle, between $78,000 and $79,000. So again, the work the REF does to support and augment our programs is remarkable. I remember, I'm sure many of you remember when, it'd be $30,000 grants a year, and now we're up in the high 70s and 80s and even 100. So congratulations. I know many of you are members or were members, and the people that work to help our programs. Once the board accepts the grants, then the REF will send letters out to notify the recipients of the grant, and Mr. Kelly will get accounts set up, and then we can start implementing the grants. And we'll do what we usually do in the fall, have the grant winners come in and give them a certificate and announce what each grant was or was awarded. Reminder that Union Middle School will have their graduation. Their ceremony will be held on June 19th. I believe Mr. Mazzone is going to speak, right? And Dr. Oladi will be there to give out diplomas. If any board member wants to go, it's a little more limited than the high school, but you could let me know and I'll let Mr. Schweitzer know, okay? I'm sure even if you didn't let me know, they'd probably let you in. But if you let me know, we'll do it the right way. The high school graduation is on the 20th at Tryon Field. I left for every one of you a ticket, and that ticket is good. There's 2 different tickets. There's a rain and shine ticket, and there's just the shine ticket. You have the rain and shine ticket. So if it is moved inside and you want to still attend at Union because of weather, that ticket will get you in both places. If you're, I know I've told you this in writing, but if you're going, or as Dr. Alati wants me to say, when you are going to graduation. We do have seats on the track, on the field level, for faculty, staff, and board members. So it's nice that you sit there, so you're together, and it's also nice that you sit there so that people can see you there. So that's a good thing. And look forward to the evening. We're hoping for good weather. And Dr. Alati will speak and also present this purpose. Just looking ahead to next year, I just recorded my video message that I do once a month before the meeting, and I mentioned how the end, every time there's an end, right? It's usually coupled with some kind of beginning, and graduation is called commencement, which is a beginning. And I'm very excited about looking ahead. We put several things in place this year academically that are going to grow and hopefully continue to improve. We have a new math program coming in that we're hoping is going to really, have some growing pains, but really take off. We're going to be unveiling the beginnings of the profile of the Rutherford graduate that we worked on and will continue to work on. So there's a lot of exciting things to look ahead to next year. We are also going to be celebrating that 16, and actually tonight there'll be a 17th person, although she'll be back for a while next year retiring. And that's always bittersweet as people leave, but also it gives us a chance to welcome in the other folks and see what ideas they bring to the table and what skill set they bring in. So I looking forward to a continuation of the things that we've been doing and the things we've been kind of brewing and trying to improve on, and to even make them better. And I do have to report on the HIB scores. These reports get rather confusing and redundant because I have to report several times on the same thing. But back in November, the board had to approve our self-assessment that I then submit to the state. And then the state then says, we accept your self-assessment, and publish it. And when they do that, I have to report to the board. You don't have to approve this, but I have to report to the board and to the public. So once again, when you see scores between 73 and 77, you think, you need some kind of academic intervention, but the max score is 78. So we're doing a good job on the HIB investigations. We're doing a good job on the training that we do for staff. We're doing a good job on the programs that we do for students. And the way we report it, the way the board acts on it. That's all part of this rubric. So the score is there for anybody to look at. They're on the state's website as well. The district score is 75 out of 78, and our schools range from 73 to 77. Okay? Keep in mind that we will have a curriculum and instruction committee meeting on the 17th. Right now, that's probably the only meeting we need, unless something shakes out with building and grounds that we need to talk about. We'll see how that plays out. And the board meeting is on the 24th, and then we have 2 in the summer. In the communication that I put out with the last board meeting, I'll make sure those dates are out in the summer and remind everybody that in the summer with vacation plans and other things that come up, if you're not going to be at a board meeting, to please let us know early so that we can, know we have enough for a quorum if and other people can be, okay, depending on your vacation plans and things like that. Okay, so that's my report. Oh, I'm sorry, one other thing. I left this was in the program of the awards, and it's a list of the colleges our students have been accepted to. And I highlighted a few, and I know I left a couple of really good ones out. But when you look at this massive list, and we're going to put this, by the way, without the highlights, in the newsletter that goes out. But when you see Yale University, UPenn, Princeton University, Harvard, Cornell, Columbia, Carnegie Mellon, Bentley, which is one of the best business schools, Stevens, New Jersey Institute, Tufts University, and then you see schools like, that you don't even think to highlight, like, Notre Dame and Ohio State and Penn State. I mean, our kids get into outstanding colleges. And I always feel this list is more telling than the list of where they go. Because sometimes the student may not be able to afford a college. Or sometimes a student may not want to be that far from home, or sometimes a student may feel like, I fit in better with this crowd, or, if I go here, I could be in the play, or if I go here, I could be on the team. But when you look at some of these universities, I just mentioned about 5 or 6 Ivy League schools that our kids are getting into. It's a credit to our students and to our community and to our teachers and to our faculty and staff and the kids themselves. So it's something to be proud of. So I thought I'd share that with you, and we are going to put it out in the newsletter.
It's great.
Thank you.
And Fordham. I didn't want to not mention Fordham.
Thank you. No, agreed. Really, really proud of this class. Questions or comments from board members?
Just one question. I don't know, Poppy said this, high school girls softball, did they win?
They won the state sectional championship. Only the second one in school history. There was a pretty good softball coach, a good 12, 13-year run. He never won one. I'm talking about myself. But he won the only 2 in basketball. And now they play tomorrow for the North Championship for Group 2 against Ramsey in Ramsey. And if they win that, then they move on for the overall state championship.
Great, thank you.
And very impressive. They were a 9th seeded team, and they wound up winning the section.
Thank you. Good.
All right. We are going to move on then to the report of the president. So my brief comments are going to be wrapped up in our board goals. So one of our board goals is about curriculum and following all of this sort of new curricular updates that are being made. And in that spirit, I wanted to thank and acknowledge Mr. Hurley for just really transparent communication and great updates about how things are going in terms of curriculum, having committees come here to present and really give us a sense of how things are evolving and unfolding. In the lens of professional development and continued board growth, I wanted to acknowledge, I think this October for our NJSBA conference, we have at least 4 board members going, I think, so that's great in terms of critical mass of board members going to continue to develop themselves. And then in terms of involvement and engagement in the school community with events, I am optimistic that I think we're going to be 9 for 9 at graduation this year. And if we're 9 for 9, I will give this board a shout out publicly on the microphone. Christina's like, oh yes, he's going to do it. But no, I'm really pleased when we think about the work that we're doing. I think it's good to put it in the context also of our board goals and things that we have committed to emphasizing.
Very great.
That is pretty much it for my comments. Questions for me? All right, hearing none, then we are going to open the meeting to the public for any items related to the agenda at 7:31 p.m. Seeing no comments, we are going to close the meeting at 7:31 p.m. and we are going to move on to new business where there is action to be taken. We'll start with personnel. Mrs. Cole.
Hi. Personnel did not have a committee meeting this month, and the following 20 motions are to be put forward at the recommendation of the superintendent tonight. Number 1 is the retirement of Carolyn Trevelyan, math teacher at the high school with regret, effective November 1st, 2024. Number 2 through 5 are resignations. Number 6 is the approval of a custodian at the high school. This is a replacement position. Number 7 is to approve a leave replacement at Pierpont School. Number 8 is to approve a long-term substitute teacher at the high school. Number 9 is the approval of a long-term substitute part-time teacher assistant at Pierpont School. Number 10 is to certify that quantitative merit criteria has been satisfied by the superintendent of schools for the 2023-24 school year, and to the approve the payment of the merit bonus goal.
We don't tell.
Number 11 is to approve 2 additional days of work for summer months as a clerical assistant at Lincoln School. Number 12 is the approval to work 5 days during the 2024 summer months as a clerical assistant at Washington School. Number 13 is a transfer from Union to Rutherford High School. Number 14 is to approve the following as teacher assistants for the Summer Enrichment Academy as listed. Number 15, to approve the following as helping hands for the Summer Enrichment Academy as listed. Number 16, to approve the following staff to work during the 2024 extended school year program as listed. Number 17, to approve the following substitute teachers as listed. Number 18, to approve the following substitute teacher assistants as listed. Number 19, to authorize payment of salary and benefits for the following Title I teachers as listed. And number 20 is to approve the following travel reimbursements as listed.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Gold. I just want to make a comment for anyone who is listed on here in terms of travel reimbursements. You might consider abstaining from voting on that motion. Questions or comments from board members? Mr. Bogosian?
We have to abstain specifically on our line, though,
On your line.
Correct.
because otherwise there's only 4 people voting.
Yeah,
Yes.
you just abstain on your line.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
I do want to make a comment about Karen Travelin. Ms. Travelin will be retiring in the end of October, and I should have looked this up, but Karen's up there about 40 years, give or take. You know, Colleen? About 40 years. So. You go look it up, so we have it right. So the minutes reflects it correctly. And, you know, it's been a colleague of mine in so many different ways over the years, and we're going to miss her and want to wish her well. So she'll be part of next year's celebration, not this year's end of the year celebration. And I also, no, I guess that's it. I thought there was another thing I was going to mention, but maybe that's somewhere else. Okay, so that's my comment.
All right, any other comments?
Yes? 40? See, I knew it.
Ms. Jones?
Okay, Rachel Fiat is a teacher at Washington School, and she really loves our district. But she's got an opportunity to be a vice principal, and I've always warmed my heart when I find that we lose some good teachers, but they're always going to get a job that's, you know, that's higher than what they're doing now, and you can't blame them for that.
No, not at all. You know, and you train people, you mentor people, you guide people. You want them to stay and do it by you, but you also don't mind when they go because they have the opportunity to move forward.
Then they might come back.
You never know.
Anyhow,
Frank Moreno.
Frank Moreno.
Yeah. Like a boomerang.
A
Boomerang.
There you go. I'll start. Yeah.
All right. Ms. Gold, do you want to move those?
I would like to move motion 1 through 20.
All right. Do we have a second? Dr. Racine, any last questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll ask Mr. Kelly to please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Abstain on my entry on motion 20, yes to all others.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes on everything except for my name on number 20.
Thank you. Mr. Mazzone?
Abstain on item 20, line 10, where my name is reflected. Yes to all others.
Thank you. Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Dr. Awadi?
Yes to everything except abstain, number 20, where my name is listed.
Thank you. Motion not carried.
All right, excellent. We're going to move on now to curriculum and instruction. Ms. Jones.
Thank you. We did not have a CNI meeting this month. There are 5 motions that have been put forth by the superintendent. 1, Rutherford Education Foundation to accept the grant funds of the Rutherford Education Foundation in the amount of $78,676.98. 28 grants, and also for the Cassadati Fund, $4,635. That is just so wonderful. Our REF has just been so great to us. 2 out of the district placements, 3 field trips, now 189, 4 HIB bullying decision, and 5 ARP ESSER free safe return class.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments?
Yeah, Mr. Kelly, in the minutes, the parenthetical reference to the REF contribution is that 78,000 should be what I read before. It should be
Yeah, I believe it's,
$73,841.98.
73?
In the parenthetical. Okay. And it should be a total of 32 grants, 28 for the REF, 4 from the Casadante. So you could make the changes for the minutes for those two things. I also just want to mention, so people aren't confused, whether it be board members or anybody in the public, the Safe Return Plan, which came, whatever now, 4 years ago from COVID, that's tied to the ESSER funding, which, Mr. Kelly, I think by November, right, we have to have it all spent? October, yeah. So this will be the last time we have to update it. Part of the grant allocation was every 6 months, you had to update the grant. So the grant expires in October. We won't have to update this anymore. I know people say, well, you know, why are we still updating a safe return plan? We've been returning for years, but it was tied in to the grant. All right, Ms. Jones, you want to move this?
I move resolutions 1 through 5.
All right, do we have a second?
Yeah.
Ms. Cole, any last questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Dr. Awadi?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on now to finance. Mr. Bogosian.
Good evening. We have not had a Finance Committee meeting since our last full board meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have 3 motions to consider. Number 1 is the routine approval of bills. Number 2 is to enter into a contract with Arch Vinci and Bliss to serve as our financial auditor. And number 3 is to approve reallocation of funds within fiscal year 24 ESEA, ESSA Title I Part A funds.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments from board members? Can you just explain number 3? What is it? Kind of what that means?
Number 3. Yeah, you could do it, man.
We received at the beginning of the year a particular dollar amount of grant funds, and the application that we submit for that shows dollars in certain line items, and then that gets approved, and we work toward that. But as we move through the year, we may need money in different lines than we thought we did. So if those transfers exceed a certain amount, then we just have to submit an amendment to the original application. So that's what we're doing. It's not changing the amounts, it's just changing where we're spending them.
Got it. Any other questions? Hearing none, Mr. Bogosian, you want to move this?
I'd like to move motions 1 through 3 under Finance.
All right, we have a second. Mr. Mazzone, any final questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
I'm abstaining from item 035149 and resolution 1, but yes to everything else.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Dr. Awadi?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on now to policy. Mr. Healy.
Yes, we did not have a policy committee meeting since our last board meeting, and there are no resolutions for this evening.
Okay, thank you. Buildings and Grounds, Mr. Sprayberry is not here. Mr. Bogosian, can you take us through it?
Hello again. We've not had a Buildings and Grounds meeting since our last full board meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have 2 motions to consider. Number 1 is to accept a bid of $218,866 from Combustion Services Corp. For a boiler replacement at the K Center. And number 2 is to accept a bid of $406,145 from Weatherproofing Technologies Incorporated for a replacement and upgrade of the roof at Pierpont School.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments?
Anybody have, Mr. Kelly, is there anything you want to add to that? I think it's pretty self-explanatory, right? These are projects we talked about with
Yeah.
Building and Grounds and Finance.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Bogosian, you want to move those?
I'd like to move motions 1 and 2 under Buildings and Grounds.
All right, do we have a second? Mr. Healy, any last questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Kelly, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian?
Yes.
Mrs. Cole?
Yes.
Mr. Conti?
Yes.
Mr. Healy?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Mazzone?
Yes.
Dr. Racine?
Yes.
Dr. Alani?
Yes.
Motion's carried. Thank you.
All right, excellent. We're going to move on now to old business. Ms. Jones.
On May 12th, which was like 5/16, we had a PTA meeting at Washington School, and it was to honor Bill Mulcahy. Maybe it's it was to honor Bill Mulcahy for his years of service. He's now retired, he used to be. But it was very nice that they invited the past PTA presidents from all the way back. It was 19 years. That was the Washington State. And they spoke us over. But it's a nice meeting. I think it was a which they gave him a gift certificate to Paisano and one to the rest of not estimate because everyone funded, you know, so. And the other thing was I saw the production of Aladdin yesterday. Our Julia Bogosian was in it, and Cooper Conti was not great mention on all the work he does with lighting. It was absolutely fabulous. These are 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. It blows my mind how good they are. I mean, this is a very great production that I've seen. You did, was great. High school, Percy Jackson, and Lightning starring Danny Frenchett. They're just outstanding. I don't know how these kids get so, but they were really wonderful. So another good production. And just one other thing, did you mention that it was $160,000 in senior scholarships?
No, we didn't. No.
That's where it's sold.
Yeah, 160 years. Oh, 160 year about. Yeah.
I was sitting with the counselor, and
Yeah.
that is so outstanding.
Yeah.
And also, you know, our people that give year after year.
Yep.
So it's really.
It is going way back to when it was making pancakes in the Elks Club. And this thing has grown over the years, and 160,000 upwards of scholarship funds. And you're right, some of them have been around for 30, 35 years, scholarships, but every year there are new ones. And that's nice too, you know. We have very few that drop, you know. So it's a really, I mention it every year, the support that the surrounding community, it's not just Rutherford, I mean, majority is Rutherford, but the surrounding community gives our class, as seniors, is really, and the monetary thing is nice, but it's just also the fact that, you know, so many people in the community are recognizing the things the kids are doing in so many different areas, which is very nice.
Yeah, you took my old business. I was going to mention that the 160,000 and no, please, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm not, but the senior award ceremony was really wonderful. It's great to see how things are spread out among so many students. It seemed like there were the most amount of recipients, students in the audience that I had seen. I've been going for.
I thought it was spread out pretty well. Yeah, more so than others. But there's always one or two that get the most, but they earn it.
But I mean the most amount of students who are receiving awards.
Yeah, I mean, oh yeah.
It was a very large crowd of students, and that was really fantastic. Yeah, so it was definitely a wonderful event, beautiful weather. Also, you mentioned earlier about the Rutherford Education Foundation and all the grants. They had a very successful ladies' bruncheon yesterday. I get the pleasure of attending as a helper behind the scenes, but you know, I think that fundraising in Rutherford and in towns like ours are not getting easier. It's only getting harder because there are a lot of competing great organizations and foundations that are trying to do great work for a great cause. So huge kudos to the REF that they continue to be innovative and think about ways to fundraise in the landscape we're in to raise this amount of money every year. You know, 10, 15 years ago, they were raising $20,000 every year. and they've upped their game big time. So it's great to see such community support for that. Other old business, Mr. Mazzone?
Yeah, so on, I guess it was May 17th and 18th, as Diane noted, I had the opportunity to attend the Annie Jr. play, both sessions, and I agree, just really phenomenal job. I think also the investment that the district's made in mics and technology, and, Chris, I know you're well versed in lighting, the happening union, just, I think we're really reaping the benefits of that at all of our schools.
And some of that was district funds, some of that was referendum, and some of that was REF.
So I just have one other thing. This weekend I had the opportunity to attend the Pride Festival. And when I was there, I had an opportunity to run into students from Rutherford GSA. And I was really taken back, having an opportunity to engage with the students, to speak with them, to understand Mike Schrocco is absolutely an advocate and their student advisor. I think there's so many great organizations in our district. And, there's no way we could hear about all of them or learn about them. But I just wanted to share that for those who don't know, because I feel like DEI is getting beat up on pretty good, both in political circles and in other areas, just that RHS, GSA advocates for the empowerment of our LGBTQ youth, providing, a safe space, as well as connections for those in need to create a loving environment. And I was really, like I said, thinking back that these were our students out there this weekend representing our town and our community and themselves. And I thought they should be quite pleased with themselves. So,
It's a very active club. It's a very well-engaged club within the school community.
Thank you.
I wanted to add something. I'd be remiss if I didn't. That Ms. Fensick, who's sometimes our only audience member, this is her last official night with Secret Service protection, right? Your REA presidency is done after tonight, right? Tomorrow is the inauguration of the new president, and we thank you for what you've done in the last 4 years now, right? As started off with COVID. Yeah, not the way anybody wanted to start, but thank you. We had a good ride, and I think she'll still be here. But I think she likes it Monday night.
Who's the new president?
Matt Vaccaro is back for another term, and Helen Esalides from the high school. So, okay.
Excellent. Congratulations.
President-elect Esalides, right. So thank you, Colleen.
You good?
Mr. Riley?
Yeah, I just got two short ones. I attended the New Jersey School Board Association Delegate Assembly Saturday, May 18th, Mercer Community College. Dr. Cordellino, President of the New Jersey School Board, and Dr. Purnell, CEO of the New Jersey School Board, addressed the Delegate Assembly. And then there were 14 resolutions presented and debated and voted on. And I did distribute the summary notes to everyone via email to read through them. But some of the notes which I didn't know, one recommendation was to make kindergarten mandatory. I thought it was. It's not.
No.
But they're going to pass that to the assembly to work on. And a couple of districts, one other resolution which I thought was noteworthy, they're requesting that all of the mandatory policies and regulations via the New Jersey Department of Education be published, one list, so we can verify. And some people were saying that mandatory labels on especially our service, not necessarily true, which is hard to believe. We're recommending that we verify that the policies are mandatory. What?
Usually if something's in code and it's required, you can't violate code. And even if it's not in policy, you have to refer it back to code. So I'm not so sure I understand that, but.
But that actually passed, so whether it gets acted on is another thing. And there were other resolutions. As you read through them, you can see that some districts are expressing about financial distress because of the, they got big cuts in the funding, state funding. One other thing, I attended the Kinder PTA meeting Thursday, May 30th, and the PTA board reported a successful and fun year for the students and praised Mrs. Coy and her staff for their help. And the new board was sworn in. Peaceful transfer of power. So that's it.
Peaceful transfer.
I was reading your minutes from the NJSBA meeting and the mandatory kindergarten, and that applied for either half day or full day. I mean, I know we're.
Yeah, they removed a full day and made it open, full day or half day.
Got it. Yep.
Are there many districts that don't have kindergarten?
Not in Bergen County, but it's not, but it's, in fact, I think all are now full day. I think one of them in North, maybe Ramsey was the last one to go full day. But it's not mandatory that you send your child to school. It's not compulsory education, so you don't have to send your child. And if this becomes law, then you'd have to send your child.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Other old business? All right, then we're going to move on to legislative updates. Ms. Jones?
This is Assembly Bill 4405, sponsored by Victoria Flynn, District 13, which is in Marlborough County, and Jerry Schaffenberger, also from District 13. Requires New Jersey State Interscholastic Athletic Association to require criminal history records and a history record check for a person to serve as an official and athletic events sanctioned by the association. I thought they already did that.
I'm not sure about officials. We require it. It is required of any coach, whether it's a paid coach or a volunteer coach. I'm not certain it is about officials. I don't know it isn't, but I'm not certain. We can't have contractors in the building who don't go through a criminal background check. So it would make sense to me that I kind of would have thought they had that already. But the NJSIA can only say we're only going to have our schools hire officials like that because the official associations are separate entities. But I'm not sure. Quite frankly, a large number of officials are former or current teachers and administrators. They would be cleared, but it's not a bad idea.
Thank you. That's it for me.
All right, thank you. Then 7:55 p.m., we're going to open the meeting to the public for anything related to or not related to the agenda. Hearing no comments, we're going to close the meeting at 7:55 p.m. And we are in need of an executive session for 2 student issues and a legal matter. It should be out for about 15 minutes. No action to be taken.
Here are some.
And then. Yeah, and also preliminary review of the CSA evaluation. Need a motion to go into executive session. Mr. Mazzone, seconded by Mr. Magosian. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you. We're going into executive session.